So, welcome everybody in the Institute of Cryptonarchy at LibertyCon. Our next lecture will be by Juraj Bednar, who is IT security expert professionally, but he is also co-founder of Paralelní Polis and member of Slovak hackerspace Progress Bar. So Juraj today will tell you some basics from how can you communicate securely using application and other tools.
Thank you. So I think this is the best talk, or it relates the best to the title Institute of Crypto-Anarchy, because here at LibertyCon there are a lot of liberty-minded people, and the other thing that is in the world crypto-anarchy is crypto, which is either hidden or encryption. I will use some older presentation, but I updated it so it reflects the current CIA leaks. So you know how the new CIA leaks by WikiLeaks relate to the current situation. There has been a lot of talk about that encryption apps are broken, and I will try to explain if it is the case and what these leaks actually tell. So in general, the concept of privacy is quite new, and it is I would say not evenly distributed in the world. So if you ask, for example, a random person in China how they are protecting their privacy, they probably won't even know what you're talking about. It's a completely foreign concept for them. Even here in Europe, when you go to Holland, you walk in Amsterdam or Utrecht near the canals, you will see everyone will have their windows wide open, nothing hidden. You could actually see people having dinner and doing their day-to-day life. So my question actually is, why protect something if I'm not doing anything wrong? What has changed? Why we are talking about privacy at all, actually? And one of the reasons is mass surveillance and the fact that we can easily store data about people. So imagine that it's actually a kind of a true story. We had a guest in Progress Bar. We have been arranging meetings and so on. And after a few years, we have found out that the British government is kind of investigating him, and they're suspicious that he's a terrorist. So us, who were organizing a Bitcoin talk in Progress Bar, are now probably under the radar, or actually not under the radar. We are probably in the extended group of people that are being researched, just because in the past, where we were talking about Bitcoin and didn't know that this would happen, we exchanged some communication with him. So one difference is that we can massively collect data now using technologies and store them indefinitely. So someone is getting drunk in Prague with some friends, and then if you can't tell in the present moment if the photo will have any different meaning in 10 years. So politicians are very very aware of this. So the mass surveillance is what changed, and for that reason I have kind of split the threats into random and persistent threats. So random are those that are caused by various viruses, malware, or even targeted attackers. So this is not mass surveillance. This is someone either by accident hacking you, you install some malware, or they are targeting your device. So when we do any kind of security research penetration testing, we are usually trying to hack the server. So that's the difference between hacking LinkedIn and hacking one LinkedIn account. But actually, if we really wanted to gain access and kind of read people's email or Facebook messages or and these things, we would probably hack the end device, not the server, because the server is much better protected. So there are many other random threats to privacy. So cyberterrorism, that's a hype and pretext for expensive government surveillance programs and IT security projects. And the good news is that you can prevent some of the random threats, random attacks. The bad news is that this is what actually the CIA Vault 7 leaks were about. They leaked information about CIA having a way of attacking end devices. That means laptops, TVs, iPhones, Android phones, and so on. So the problem with these attacks are that they are actually using something known as zero-day exploit. Do you know what zero-day exploit means? Yeah? So, yeah? Okay. So a zero-day exploit is security vulnerability in some technology or some software that is not yet widely revealed. So someone has it from the day zero, but there are no antivirus, there's no patch, there's no protection against it. So if there's a security researcher, they have basically a few options on what to do with the security vulnerability. So what do you think you can do with a zero-day security vulnerability? You can, of course, go to the vendor and say, here's the vulnerability, please fix it, and then I will maybe write a blog about it. That's the nice thing. That's what we try to do. Sell it, exactly. So there's a pretty huge market with zero-day exploits, and they can be pretty expensive. The prices go from something like hundreds of thousands of euros to millions of euros. So this is something that is very valuable because it allows you to gain access to anyone using this kind of technology, and it works until someone else finds it or someone leaks it, like in this case. The persistent threats are those that are constantly here. They are sometimes forced by government and their regulations. So one example of these would be data retention laws. So data retention law says that, let's say, phone companies, mobile phone operators, they're forced by law to store information about who you called, when you called them, and how long the call lasted, how long was the call. There are many others. So there's mass surveillance. Almost every developed country has their mass surveillance program, and that's not the worst news. The worst news is that these days even the developing countries and the dictatorships have their own surveillance programs. So this means that you're not target only of your own government's surveillance, but you're also targeted by other not so friendly countries that also try to collect data about you. So for example, in the US, with the Snowden leaks and the CIA leaks, the debate is if, you know, it's constitutional and all these things about their legislation. Well, the US Constitution doesn't protect me because I'm not living in the US and I'm not a US citizen. So that gives basically all the power to the US government to spy on me. There are no courts involved. There's no probable cause involved. They're just collecting everything they can get their hands on. So this can be somehow reduced by end-to-end crypto and hardening your systems, and I will tell you about it in a while. So I said the persistent privacy threats are using data retention law. So the way to avoid this is basically to not share any metadata, which means for me, I don't like to use the mobile phone network. I try to use encrypted services. Of course, that means that the other side has to have some kind of software installed as well. Again, mass surveillance, you should not think about NSA spying on you. You should think about NSA and CIA and the British and the Canadians and the Russians and the Chinese and whoever gets their hands on your data, they're saving it in their data centers. So I think this kind of changes the debate, because usually we are, you know, like we are saying it's for protection against terrorism, but I don't know, like Russia saving my private communication, I don't feel protected by that. I actually feel a little bit scared. And then there's the targeted government hacking. So that's the Vault 7. Why is it under persistent privacy threats? Because they not only hack the end devices, but sometimes they hack infrastructure. So in Snowden leaks, there was this information about the NSA actually hacking core routers of a Belgian mobile phone operator. So they actually hacked a mobile phone operator, and they were collecting all the information they wanted to collect from them. So this can actually become a persistent privacy threat as well, because they just install their spyware, which is a really good word for this, and they keep it there for years. There's also companies. So for some companies, spying is part of their business model. So it's very easy to find out if you're not paying for something and you're using the services, you're the product. So your data, your information, or your attention is being packaged and sold on the free market. So if you're using Facebook and you're so happy that it's free, you're not the customer, you're the product of Facebook. So your attention is the thing that is sold on the market to the real customers who are paying for advertisement. So this is a very, very nice thing to, very important point to think about when you're using something online on the internet and it's free, you're not the customer, probably. Companies have a lot of private data as well. For example, Google has full access to not only the wireless networks you use, but they also upload your location in relation to the wireless networks. So the reason for this is actually it's a very useful service. What it does is it makes GPS geolocation very fast and very precise. So I don't know if you remember like a few years ago when you took out your phone with a GPS or a standalone GPS unit, it would take minutes, maybe 5 or 10 minutes to actually pinpoint your location. Right now it's fast because the phone is usually not using GPS. It just scans all the Wi-Fi networks around you, sends it to Google, or Apple does the same thing, and then they return the GPS coordinates of your position based on the Wi-Fi networks. So this is really interesting because if you have a home Wi-Fi network, you are probably in the Google database even if you don't use any of their services, because all that's needed for this is someone walking in front of your, you know, window or front door and catching the signal. People usually store calendars, contacts, and a lot of other things. With Apple, it's the same thing. They're brave enough to fight some things, but their business model also includes people's data, so they can sell you more music on iTunes and target you and sell this information to other parties. I have heard a really interesting sentence by someone who was involved with the CIA, and the conversation was about the recent leaks, and the person said that they consider any device with a microphone and a camera their back. It doesn't matter that you paid for your iPhone and it's your property. The CIA considers this iPhone their own surveillance device, so they have no problem hacking it. And you know, you might sit in a restaurant next to a mafia boss, you don't know about it, and then they will hack your phone just to use your microphone. So between corporations and governments, there is this, I would say, love-hate relationship. So they try to force them to share some of this information with the government, but the data is very sensitive and very valuable. So they try not to share it. Sometimes they make a good deal. So I included this funny picture. If you are using fingerprint as authentication, I don't actually know if the Apple or Google or Samsung or whoever shares the fingerprints with the government. And also the US government, if you ever visited US, they have your fingerprints anyway, because you touch their scanners at the border. But what is interesting about this is that actually the latest case with Apple versus the FBI was about unlocking the phone of one of the San Bernardino attackers. And the only reason that this was even a topic was because he didn't use the fingerprint lock. Because you know, if he used his fingerprint, they would just take his finger and unlock the phone, and that's it. But if or a copy of the finger, it's very, very easy to make copies of fingerprints if you have them in your database. So actually using a really long passcode lock is better, because it's much more difficult to get access to a phone that is locked and you have physical access to it. So the first practical recommendation, especially if you are going to a foreign country, is to change fingerprint lock to a long passcode. So this is how the companies cooperate with the government. So every star is good. It's if they require a warrant for content, if they tell users about the government data requests, how much they request, and so on. If they publish transparency reports, if they publish law enforcement guidelines, and if they're fighting for their users' privacy in courts and in Congress. So that's what the stars mean. You can actually Google this image very easily. So it doesn't look as good. So that's why I'm saying that the companies, their business model is understandable, but you should actually think about what it really means in practice, and how many of these services you use. It's not enough that one company is good. Okay, of course, mobile phone operators also collect information about you. They're actually forced to do it by law, especially in Europe and in the US, because of the data retention laws. They have full access to your localization data. So your phone is a bug that constantly notifies your mobile phone operator where you are. And this is really interesting because you don't need to have your phone written on your name. It can be a company phone. Here in Czech Republic, you can actually buy anonymous SIM cards. But it doesn't matter, because if you wake up at your home and you go to your office and then you go to visit your partner and then you go to home, just from this pattern, you know exactly what the person is, especially if you change the SIM card. So there has been a very interesting research about a guy who changed his SIM card for an anonymous SIM card, and he requested the data from the mobile phone operators. In some countries, they are forced by law to give you all the data they collect on you. And he could perfectly match that it's the same person, even though the SIM card didn't have any name on it. So if you have these patterns and you choose to buy an anonymous SIM cards, it won't help you, because you can see straight in the database it's the same person, just from the patterns and the life you live. Also, the mobile phone operators cannot legally provide you end-to-end encrypted calls. End-to-end encrypted means that the encryption keys are created on the end devices and never leave them. The reason they cannot do it is because they have to provide lawful interception. It's also a requirement of getting a phone operator license. So don't look for a product for encrypting calls in the offers of licensed mobile phone operators or network operators, but don't blame them. They cannot do it legally, because they always need a way to intercept the calls. So they have full access to all your calls, text messages, and location at all times when you have your phone on. Of course, you can use third-party services for that, and I will show you just what to use. So the first thing is you can encrypt all your communication from in a way that your network operator doesn't see the communication. On Android or iOS, you can install OpenVPN and find any commercial VPN provider. What this does is that your network operator doesn't see any communication. I highly recommend doing this in the cafeterias, hotels, everywhere. It's a very easy thing to spy on you if you connect to a free Wi-Fi in Starbucks. So if you do it, it's perfectly okay to use their service, but the first thing you should do is use VPN and encrypt all the communication. Then they will just see some random data going to a certain point. This is also very useful if you travel. So if you go to countries like China or Iran or many other countries, United Arab Emirates, actually our website of Parallel Police is censored in most of these countries. So if you wanted to see even this talk or my slides or the live stream, you would actually need to use the VPN. So VPNs are very popular in China. The reason is not that the citizens try to avoid government spying, mostly because they don't care that much. The reason is that they want to go to Facebook, and Facebook is blocked in China. So that's my first recommendation. You can also try to become anonymous. which is useful for some things if you're researching some topics and, you know, even Googling about liberty or anarchy. You could end up in a short list of suspicious people. You know, anarchists are considered extremists in many countries. So it is a good idea to anonymize your connections. You can do it using Tor browser on iPhone or your desktop computer, or Orbot and Orweb on Android. And one very important thing is that if you go out to the plain text internet, most of the nodes that these are called exit nodes that interconnect the Tor network and the regular internet, they are spying on the communication. So I would recommend not only using these, but also using HTTPS and knowing that the endpoint, which you usually don't choose, can spy on all your traffic. So that's why I didn't recommend Tor browser for all work or all browsing, because there's this problem of, you know, Iranian government or Chinese government setting up an exit node and recording everything that leaves it. I believe the US government also has some exit nodes just for this reason. Some people just collect passwords from exit nodes, so it's really not a good idea to, you know, just log into your mail account without HTTPS through Tor. One very good solution is a browser extension, which I recommend you install. And if you use iOS, you can install Brave, which has HTTPS everywhere included. And what it does is it has a database of websites that support HTTPS encryption, so even Facebook, Google, and so on. And the browser would never let you use an unencrypted connection. So even if you click on HTTP link without HTTPS, it would force it through the HTTPS connection, so the traffic never leaves your computer unencrypted. Okay, now the encrypted messengers. So how many of them do you use? Who uses Signal? Okay, WhatsApp, Telegram. Okay, Wire, Trima. Okay, so Facebook Messenger, maybe. Yes, me too. So it's not a very nice situation, because if you are using email, you are using email, and that's one thing that is that everyone has, and then you have to talk to your friends. Okay, please call me on Signal, and I'm on WhatsApp, and so on, and we end up with many of these messengers or voice over IP applications, and the quality differs a lot. So I shown these. Also, maybe I should have mentioned Facebook Messenger, which also has an option of encrypted chats, and all of these say that they're encrypted, but the quality differs a lot. So with Signal, which is, I think, the best option right now, they support messages, voice, and video calls for a month or so you can also do a video call. It's free, it's open source, it has been audited by many people. There has been a lot of academic research. The protocol is well designed by cryptographers who know what they're doing. So my very, very favorite thing to read on a website is that we use military-grade encryption, which usually means that they have turned on HTTPS. So it's not only military-grade encryption, but someone who knows how to design secure systems. These people have designed it pretty well. What is also very nice is that encryption is not optional, so it's always on. You can't turn it off in Signal right now. So you know if someone writes you using Signal, they're using encryptions for sure. And it also has something that is called perfect forward secrecy. Any idea what that means? Perfect, so you learned something, actually. Okay, perfect forward secrecy means that if I'm communicating and at some point someone gets my private keys, my encryption material, either from my device or they torture me or whatever, there is no way for them to decrypt the messages that have happened in the past. So perfect forward secrecy means anyone getting access to the key information can only decrypt future messages, not messages from the past. Signal also has a plausible deniability, which means that there is no way, even with all the key material, to prove which side wrote the message. So if someone is trying to do something bad to you by forcing you to say something, they have no way to prove that you actually said something. From the data, it looks the same as if the other side has written it. So it's not digitally signed only by you, but also by the other party in a complicated way. So the first thing I would recommend is install Signal. I use it all the time for everyone, and I use it to call my mom. I use it to chat with my girlfriend and so on. So we use it in our company, just because we don't want to be included in the pile of information that is stored about us. It's not about, with my girlfriend, I usually talk about grocery shopping and when I'm coming home, but I don't want this information to be stored permanently on an NSA server or a Slovak secret agency server and so on. Telegram, some of you use it, and it has a really bad design. It had past vulnerabilities, and I don't recommend using it for anything that should stay private. It has a really nice group chat feature, so a lot of people use it at conferences and places like this as a group chat, but I don't have it even installed, so people don't think that they're encrypting and writing to me. Wire is one of the nicely done applications. It has conference calls and so on, and it has been saying that the calls are and that everything is encrypted. Turns out someone analyzed the encryption and they found out that the calls are not encrypted at all. Not a good idea, maybe. WhatsApp is really nice. They actually use the Signal protocol for messages, not for calls. The same with Facebook Messenger. If you turn on the secret chat, it's also using the Signal protocol. The reason why I try to prefer Signal to WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger is that you don't there is a way to know if it's encrypted, but it might be not. So it's not the priority for them. So if someone has an older version of WhatsApp, you write a message, it's not encrypted, you can actually see it in the interface, but it's not security on by default for all, it's just you can make it better. The other thing is that this is for messages, not for calls, not for video calls. So WhatsApp is and Facebook Messenger is kind of nice, better than texting with SMS, but you actually need to think about it a lot more. Threema is really nice. It was one of the first privacy-aware messengers. It's very popular, so I also use it a lot. It cannot do calls and video calls, but it can share media, it can have polls, it can have groups and so on. So It's kind of nice. It's not free though. You can buy it from app stores or using Bitcoin on their website. It costs like €2 or something like that. Okay, I was talking about Googling liberty and anarchy stuff. So if you do that, try using DuckDuckGo, which at least says that they don't record information and they don't track you. So it's an alternative to Google. And I was talking about anonymization. So this is how to anonymize your connections with a caveat that I told you about, which is a way to sniff your or surveil your communications on the exit nodes. Maybe you have heard about Tor hidden services. Anyone? It's called the dark web. Yes, okay. So if you are using these services, these are actually end-to-end encrypted. So they're much safer to use than just plain normal internet. So all the things like Silk Road in the past and all the black markets and everything, they didn't have this problem because these connections that go to an address that ends with .onion, these are end-to-end encrypted. I also wanted to say that the payment transactions should be anonymized, and that's either using cash or you can use Bitcoin. Here is some software. I'm not going to talk about this a lot because our colleague and friend Pavel Luptak will have a presentation about this at 2:20. So it's about how to escape the tracking of your financial transactions, which are happening. There's a OECD common reporting standard, which from last year there will be 100 countries that exchange all your private financial information. So that is balances on your bank accounts, dividend yields, and capital gains. So if you thought, oh, I will have a bank account in St. Kitts or Switzerland or anywhere, and my government won't see my financial transactions, that's no longer true. They're exchanging this information. So bank secrecy is basically that, unless you use Bitcoin or cash. And I invite you to Pavel's talk about how to actually escape the tracking in the financial system. I believe it will be at 2:20. Okay, so there was some talk about the Signal application being broken, and from the CIA leaks of Vault 7. Well, basically what the leaks actually said is that they can decrypt Signal messages if they hack your phone. But if they hack your phone, that means they have access to your screen and to everything you type. So they're not actually, decrypting the messages on the wire. They hack your phone and then they upload everything that is on your screen. And that's how they can decrypt any kind of messenger. What's the difference between panicking and actually understanding what is going on? They have to target your particular phone. So what this means, they can't just collect everything. They can't mass surveil. And the reason why they're not hacking every phone is precisely because the zero-day exploit is very valuable. So if you have an asset that costs millions of dollars, you won't just install it on random people's phone because it would get revealed. Someone would just say, okay, someone hacked my phone and they use this kind of exploit. I've seen it from my network traffic because I'm a geek and I record everything and see what's going on. So there is a very strong economical incentive to use this exploit as little as possible, so not as much as possible. So the difference is when you use Signal, yes, if you piss off the government, they will hack your phone and they will read everything you write on your phone. So if you really need to keep something private, do a walk in the forest and actually talk to people in person. But that doesn't mean that it's not useful, because they can't record and store everything. They can, and they can't decrypt the past. So one of the other recommendations I have is, if you install Signal, set disappearing messages, which means that the application deletes all the messages from your phone. Because when they hack it, they actually have access to the history as well, because it's stored on your phone. So that's basically what I wanted to say. I think there are many parties who try to invade your privacy, either because you're a product, or because you're a target, or because they just are obsessed about collecting information. Know that you are already tracked by data retention laws, social networks, Google, and you can easily be monitored by any secret or other government agency. And the fact that the internet is a permanent storage. So if you upload something, it's already in the database, even when you delete it later. So thank you very much. And I would also invite you to my talk later, which will be about Bitcoin as a storage of value. So if you want to save, many libertarians pick gold as a good alternative for saving, and I will explain why I think that Bitcoin is also a good idea. So it will be here. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Juraj, for a great introduction to security online. I think we have time for a few questions. So if you have any practical or theoretical question, now is your time.
Okay, while you ask, I will say that I will be here outside. So if you need help with installing Signal and trying to chat with someone for the first time, I will be outside, so we can try that.
Okay, hi, thank you for your talk. Just one question, except for OpenVPN, do you recommend other VPNs for Android? Something free, preferably?
So OpenVPN is not a VPN provider. It's a software to connect to other VPNs. So you also have to pick a provider. So I would not be very happy recommending you a free alternative, because I don't know what they do with the data on the exit node. So again, if it's free, there is some business model behind, and they maybe sell your data. So I would not vouch for a free VPN. I don't know. So sometimes maybe it's better to give the data to the mobile phone operator, and there you will be in an anonymous mass. So I would not recommend a free one, but you also need to pick a provider. So OpenVPN is just the app that you will use to connect to any of them. I personally like AirVPN, which has many entry and exit nodes, and if you are really paranoid, I would recommend CryptoHippie, which is a more expensive solution, but it's very very good and well thought VPN solution.
Well, thanks. Any other question?
I like this word Torification. I didn't hear before. So how can I Torificate all outgoing connections from my Android smartphone?
You can ask Pavel, because I don't use Android, so I don't know, but it's definitely possible. And on your computer, you can, so torifying means that all the connections that will leave your computer will go through Tor. And on your computer, there is a very good distribution of Linux, which you can boot. You can boot it in a virtual machine or from a USB stick. and it has all this set up already. So it won't, the firewall won't allow any other connection than to the Tor network, and all the connections automatically go through there. And the distribution is called Tails, Tails.
So if there is no other questions, I would like to thank you for coming. Oh, there is last question.
Hi, thank you for a great talk. Which brand of phones you recommend if I want to be tracked by Apple or Chinese government?
I think that with any phone you would probably be tracked by both US and China's government, so that's not not a good question. Even the baseband chips in Apple's devices are made in China, so well, the phone itself is made in China, but the baseband chips are designed in China, and they are vulnerable. So actually, if your enemy, if what you're afraid of is being targeted by any of the big world's governments, then my recommendation is do not use a phone at all. If you think that you just don't want to be mass surveilled, you don't want to be just one of millions of people whose data is surveilled and stored, then I think it's not much of a difference. There are people who say that Android is better for privacy, especially if you use a privacy-aware distribution. So you can do that, but I think it depends on how you use the phone. You can use Android, you can install tens of spyware applications and be as bad as with iPhone. So I don't think there's one answer to this question. Depends on what you're afraid of. If you're going to do something stupid and piss off any of the governments, first, don't do it. And second, don't use the phone to talk about it.
So thank you, Juraj, for a great talk. Thank you for coming. And before you leave, I would like to bring to your attention that Paralelní Polis and Institute of Cryptonarchy is organizing 4th Hackers Congress Paralelní Polis, which will be about financial and economic freedom. So if you are interested in our topics, don't miss this great conference. Next talk here in our room will be from 2 p.m. and 10 minutes, and it will be about why we need anarchy in education. Thank you.